This is Theoretical Thrills, the podcast where three hosts pitch original theoretical rides and attractions based on things they don't own. A special guest judge awards bronze, silver, or gold based on three separate categories: most creative, most practical, and guest's favorite. With bragging rights on the line, the hosts will try to pick each other's ideas apart through gentle ribbing. So sit back, relax, and stand clear of the moving doors as we present Theoretical Thrills.
Theoretical Thrills, the theory of the thrill.
Oh boy!
In 3, 2, fun! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Theoretical Thrills. I'm your host, Oliver.
I'm Brad.
And I'm Spencer.
And you're here for a very special episode, an episode that fulfills our childhood wants for a golden cartridge inside of a Nintendo product, and that is our Ocarina of Time episode with Zelda. And joining us for that episode is Kent. Kent, how you doing?
I'm honored. I am so great. I'm so happy to be here.
We're happy that you're here as well. Just like the shining rupees that you could collect, we've all collected experiences with theme parks. So what's your background with theme parks?
I grew up going to Disneyland and California Adventure. And then it was that kind of tapped me into the Roller Coaster Tycoon games. So I remember Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 specifically nerding out over.
Okay.
Theme park builder side of it.
Uh-huh.
And I remember trying to recreate Disneyland in that ride, and I built all the specs to have all the space for it, and I still ran out of money because Disneyland is just that epic to recreate.
Yeah, it's hard to do the hub and spoke wheel formation in a game like that. It just doesn't respect it.
But I didn't until I was out of college. I went to Six Flags Magic Mountain for the first time. Where
Really?
Those rides, and it was after Viper and Tatsu. I was done, and I still had motion sickness, which is such a bummer. But that one trip did me over, and now I'm unfortunately just an enthusiast of roller coasters, but not as much of a rider of roller coasters.
Tatsu really messed me up when I did it. It was real rough.
Yes.
See, this is why. See, I've designed theme park rides, and I still sit here and I go, yeah, you guys go. I'll be over here.
Yeah, I tried the Wizarding World, that Harry Potter, and I looked it up. Harry Potter and Forbidden Journey.
Forbidden Journey.
Mm-hmm.
That was a no good for me. I didn't realize it was going to have all those elements all hitting you at once, but it was fun. Just, I can't do it again.
Yeah, that's
stimulation overload for sure.
Yeah.
Well, there goes my
Motions. If you get motion sickness, that's definitely not the one to do.
No.
there goes my hyper accelerator ride. All right, well,
7 times in a row. I was like, one time I can handle, but 7 in a row.
Dang. Yeah, I did that all the time with the Grizzly Bear River Rapids ride in California.
Mm-hmm.
That was our nighttime go-to when no one was in line, just go back and again. But it's different when it's all that motion all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right, so we got your background with theme parks. Now let's talk about the game itself. We're talking about probably the gold standard when it comes to adventuring video games, a game that revolutionized the way that we consider telling stories through dungeon-based gameplay. What is your background with The Legend of Zelda?
It was one of my earliest games I played, and I remember going into the local game store and asking the shop guy for tips on it. It was that kind of retro communicate.
You didn't flip over the thing and look for the phone number to call?
You're inside the Deku tree and you fall down through the spiderweb nest, and then I just couldn't figure out how to light, or I didn't know to light the torch and then take it over and do the other thing. So
yeah, you gotta have the box there to jump across the
it's a whole thing.
bushes.
I got the guide since then, but that was the catalyst for my love for Zelda. So since then I played Skyward Sword, Wind Waker. I tried Majora's Mask. Oh my gosh. The game froze on me after I beat,
no!
I was going to save it, and it just destroyed my...
That happened to me with Kingdom Hearts 3. Literally, it was in the final boss battle. My sister comes in, I knock over the console, and it corrupts my save file. And I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with the series.
Not worth it.
I just didn't finish Majora's Mask because I got upset that after every day, it would just reset. I'd be like, I didn't make any progress. Where's all my progress?
And then you started doing real life, and it's the same thing again.
I know.
But it prepared us for it.
I just finished Breath of the Wild, so I'm like,
Nice.
I'm fresh off that high, excited for, the Hyrule Warriors. I've been peeking at some online players of that, but Ocarina of Time is still my tried and true Zelda game.
Well, we're going to see if we could do justice to your favorite game here today by pitching you 3 separate pitches. So as people who have watched this show before know, and the ones who haven't are about to hear for the first time, we're going to go ahead and pitch you some rides and attractions based off of your favorite theme, at which point you're going to be giving awards out for first, second, and third place for 3 categories. Those categories are, Spencer.
The categories are creativity, something that is creative and fun and unique. Practicality, which is something that feels like it would fit in a current time in the theme park. And that is whatever floats your boat, whatever floats your fancy, whatever you find funny, whatever you find exciting, whatever you find like you want to ride, whatever it is, that's your category.
Excellent.
And right before we started this podcast, we spun the wheel and we came to the conclusion of today's order. And shockingly, Spencer will be going first, followed by me, with Brad is the pinch hitter. So we're going to go ahead.
This was in fact random.
This was in fact random and not just a lot of fun.
Consistently that for the past several episodes?
We switched it up specifically to make it so Spencer didn't have to go first anymore. And since we've done that, he's gone first pretty much every time.
The fates seem to want Spencer to go first.
You start strong, guys. That's the thing you got to do. He's our strongest champion. Yeah, build. You got to start with a strong foundation, which is what Spencer always brings to the equation. An in-depth
Solid foundation.
Right, knowledge of what we're doing.
Everyone else does.
All right, so we're going to also, real quick before we get started, shout out to Cameron, who will be the person messing with the audio and dealing with all this, who has done an amazing job. So we wanted to make sure that we shout out him before we get started. And with that, in the past, let's jump into it. Spencer, take it away.
All right, so I've got my 3 pitches, and only 3 pitches, because that's what we're doing is 3 pitches. My first one...
How many?
3 pitches?
3.
Okay, just making sure.
4, is it so?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it's all three. So I'm glad that you mentioned the Deku Tree, because my first pitch is Tales from the Forest with the Great Deku Tree, featuring the Kokiri, which were the ones in Ocarina of Time, as opposed to the other characters. So that
Okay.
What? The ones what in Ocarina of Time?
You know, the helpers, the elves or whatever. Anyway, the point is, let me read my description. This is like a show, kind of, sort of. Well, it is a show. It's okay. It's a mix of Turtle Talk with Crush meets the old Pocahontas fairy tale show that was back at Animal Kingdom, I think. And one of those a while ago. But this interactive presentation allows guests to ask questions to the Great Deku Tree with help from the Kokiri and other forest creatures, who in turn quickly curate a show answering some of the audience's burning questions. So no 2 shows are exactly alike. It features an appearance by Link towards the end of the show. So it's really this Pocahontas and her forest friends. I think that's what it was called. Pocahontas and her forest friend, and like the Great Deku Tree is like the grandmother Willow. And it also has a little bit of that audience interaction with the Turtle Talk with Crush element. It's not specifically AR, but the Great Deku Tree moves and has, a mouth that moves, and there's someone back there with a voice who's, being the Great Deku Tree.
And
that's
then
all it is.
Improvise a show at the end. Is that what I'm getting?
So yeah, there's it's like structured improv. So there's like beats that they have to, within the realm of the world that they have to get through, but because they don't know what the answers to the audience, they don't know what the audience is going to ask until they get there, then they curate it based on what the audience wants to know, and they kind of put that show together based on that.
So we're going to say this is obviously like almost pre-Ocarina of Time period.
No, it's Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, you do know the Deku Tree, like that level, he's infected and then dies.
Yes, I understand. That's what's devastating for most people is playing this, is that the Great Deku Tree dies, but this is a great homage to the fact that
Ocarina of Time.
No, Ocarina of Time is when
Spencer, just say yes. Just say yes.
You're talking to a dying tree then. You're talking to the poison tree.
No.
I know you're dying inside, but I got some questions I need to
think about it, though. Think about it, though. In Pocahontas, Grandmother Willow isn't the most healthiest of trees as well, but there's a lot of interactivity throughout that
He's
movie.
infected with an evil.
She's Old Mother Willow. She's old. It's in the name.
It's fine that he's old. I'm just saying this is technically set prior to Ocarina of Time.
It's okay.
The game starts with it alive. That I will say, I can totally imagine it being alive.
Kent.
If it dies mid-process, and that's why they have to continue on the story. Like,
Well, you know what, Kent? I'm glad you said something like that. Now, something to keep in mind, Kent, is you're going to be making your judgments off of what is pitched to you prior to you fixing it, or us fixing it.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. Now, with that in mind, we cut off Spencer. I'm sure this is going to get better. Spencer, what else? Keep going.
That was it for the first.
I stand corrected. Go ahead and fire away, boys. I tried to give him help.
dig it out.
I want to see the. This is how you schedule the improvers, like lunch break or stuff like that. Is it just dies mid question?
Show starts wilting.
Well, I mean, there's
that's an excellent question, and I'm going to. Oh, I don't know. So, goodbye.
Well, again, think of
Some kid sitting there. New choice.
it's a 20-minute show, ish, and if you think about it. Think about the fact that in Ocarina of Time, it takes more than 20 minutes for the tree to die. So we're just talking about the very start of this, right? We're not talking about the entire journey of the Great Deku Tree. We're talking about the stories.
Runner, I guess.
The Great Deku Tree has all these stories, right? It's filled with the land, the whole world of Hyrule, all this stuff. Anyway, so it's like a storytelling thing. So I mean, 20 minutes it can live. It's not like we have to see the depression that seeps in throughout the tree throughout the whole run of the game.
Okay, we're not pre-Ocarina of Time.
It's at the beginning of Ocarina of Time.
Spencer, you don't need to convince me. I'm on your side for this.
Okay,
Everyone else is trying to undermine you, and I'm like, I believe it. Deku Tree's living. Great.
All right. There you have it. Move on, Spencer.
That's pitch one. Pitch number two, I'm going to switch them up a little bit. Pitch number two, this is my big attraction. I'm going to save my last one for, mix and match. This one's called the Hyrule Adventure. Because there's a lot with Hyrule, so it's like a short time. But it's like a Revenge of the Mummy meets a Spider-Man ride. So I'm going to read it. I'm going to justify my River Zoras when they come in because technically they're not.
Wait, to clarify, when you say Spider-Man ride, you don't mean Web Academy. You mean the one at Universal Islands of Adventure.
Only at Islands of Adventure.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes.
Go on.
Correct. Hop aboard your very own Ocarina-shaped vessel, which is your ride vehicle. Put on your VR glasses, and yes, I mean the virtual reality and not AR, because I've finally figured it out. And strap in for a ride through the timeless locations in the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. In a ride similar to Revenge of the Mummy, guests start by embarking on a journey through the kingdom of Hyrule, like the dark ride moments of Revenge of the Mummy, where they experience the world through Link's eyes. As the journey continues, guests are thrust right into Hyrule Field, where they can see far beyond the distance. As guests travel through the Hyrule Field, the VR goggles shift, and guests are magically transported into a freshwater river that seems to be peaceful, seems too peaceful to be true. Suddenly, River Zoras, which I get are not quite an Ocarina of Time, but thematically I'm throwing them in there, start to spew energy at Link at the ride vehicles. Fire effects, water effects like Revenge of the Mummy and Jurassic Park ride. The ride vehicle starts to pick up speed like in Rock and Roller Coaster to try and escape, only to wind up tumbling down the waterfall of Zora's domain. The waterfall. That's like the launch drop of Revenge of the Mummy, where you shoot through and you go down. Waterfall, until the whirlpool starts sucking the ride vehicle astray, which is banks and turns of the roller coaster element. And just like in Revenge of the Mummy, you end up brake checked at a wall. Only instead of beetles, this time it's Ganon coming to defeat everyone. As the VR glasses start to get smaller and smaller, as if the walls are caving in, so you start to get more.
Wait, the goggles are getting smaller, or the view is getting smaller?
The view is getting smaller. The
just like tightening slowly on your. What's happening
in the VR goggles? As if the walls are caving in, Link appears with a Master Sword, repels Ganon's evil energy, and the vehicle is launched backward, back through the whirlpool, up the waterfall, and back into Hyrule Field, greeted by Link shooting victory arrows into the sky as congratulations for escaping from Ganon and the River Zoras as guests return to the station to offload.
Wow.
What are victory arrows?
He has a bow and arrow, and he just like Shoots arrows.
In your mind, is he the Texas guy, like with the but instead he's just shooting out his heart?
He doesn't
Like, I need you to think about the logistics of this, bud.
Well, he doesn't speak a lot. So I was thinking he would, instead of being like, he's not like, congratulations, you've survived. He's like, pew, with the arrows.
You get bonus points for that.
So you're gonna have fire effects.
Like in Revenge of the where they have the fire.
Don't worry about the arrows raining down on you, but go on.
Hey, it's VR. That's all
worry.
VR.
Why are you having fire effects if you're wearing a VR headset anyways?
So you can
Also a fair question.
feel the wrath. It's an immersive
So you're just gonna
experience.
have heat effects.
No, he said fire.
It's fire. Fire and heat are two different things. If you've ever been to a ride where it's heat versus a fire effect, the fire has like this weird like heat.
But you can't see it, bud.
You can't see it.
No. I understand, but the feeling of it is different. It feels different than it does with heat. Heat and fire. Have two
So you're telling audience members to sit here with goggles as we blast fire towards them.
it's not towards them. It goes up. You're far away from the fire. It's like a quick fire effect. It's like lighting a torch. Like in Revenge of the Mummy, when you're lighting the torch to, get through, Hyrule, it's like lighting a torch.
The defense rests.
So Spencer, my other thing here is, how much did you research VR and roller coasters before you pitched this ride?
So there's not a lot of VR with roller coasters, but
There's a reason.
There's a lot of rides that added it. They incorporated it. Kraken, for example, and SeaWorld had it for a while. The problem is you've got motion sickness, the cleaning of the headsets, and then you have to make sure these headsets are in sync.
Sure.
And then on top of that, people have different eye prescriptions and eye levels, so you're actually having to adjust it per thing. So the calibration.
And me, you're talking to me about that.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. With a ride like Kraken, it's an outdoor roller coaster. It was built as a roller coaster first. It's still a thrill ride. Beforehand, they just used the VR to add an extra element. What is your ride even, the way you've described it, is it doesn't seem like it's an exciting ride to actually look at unless you have a VR headset. So if you can't wear the VR headset and you're just riding it as a roller coaster.
I see what you're saying. So
No, that's what the fireballs coming at you are for.
it's actually designed so as like Revenge of the Mummy, the dark ride elements. It's like if you were to put VR on, you would get like this whole like full like Hyrule outdoor experience. But on the inside, it's still dressed to be Hyrule or wherever you're going. You just don't have all of the VR effect elements. So it's not just like an empty place. There's like it's actually dressed
Why have
to
VR?
The white. Yeah.
Because the VR adds to the experience. Because you're getting.
That's what AR's for.
You know what? This is
if you're gonna build the set and everything, why would you then cover it up when?
I'm gonna make a wonderful ride. It's a dark ride, and it's dark because it's actually light out, but you're wearing a blindfold. And we're gonna build out the whole ride. What are you doing, bud?
Well, this is my pitch, and it's very creative. So let's just ride into the third pitch. My third pitch.
I just wanted to interject. You guys are so hardcore about this, and I love it. You're picking apart the details. You're undermining everything he has offered creatively, and then it's like
makes it so easy.
smashing it down
It's so hard not to.
live.
Yeah, because one of us wins.
Reading what I wrote because there was a lot, and I also
We had a hard time listening to it, bud.
peaceful. I put one O, so I got really confused when I read it, but I fixed it.
Unlike New York.
What?
Unlike New York. Yeah, go on.
My third pitch. We're gonna end. We'll see.
What was that
my
face?
I don't know if it's ending on a high note or ending on a lower note. We'll see.
Creative note. Here we go.
So my third pitch is the Darunia Dance-Off and Freestyle Battle Zone. So this is a huge immersive dance room with AR, like at the end of the Minions ride in Universal, where you're like doing a dance party with the Minions kind of thing. Wall to wall, and a giant AR Darunia is in the center as you challenge him to a dance battle. Anyone's welcome to play, and the way to beat Darunia is to get a higher score than Darunia on any given round, but the points are arbitrary, just like in improv. If you don't defeat Darunia, never fear. clear. You can continuously play as long as you want, because that's how this works. Throughout the day, there will be, but I also wrote that throughout the day, there will be short performances of a Darunia face character battling actual dance teams for bragging rights with music supplied by the Ocarina of Time Garage Band, which is a percussive band utilizing only ocarinas to play music. So it's a dance zone. It's a dance zone and the actual dance battle all inside this big, large AR arena.
But there's only one Darunia, like, in the center that you go up and challenge.
Yeah, one giant Darunia, but he's challenging everyone at the same time. So you don't have to, like, wait. You could just kind of play. And
Can you describe these dance moves? Like, what kind of dance, like, what are you envisioning?
You know, so, like, there's, like Darunia and do this
Mr.
thing.
Mime, back and forth.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying, Ken.
You know, like, this thing where they go back and forth, front and back. Right. Like, you know, like the old school, like,
Bollywood dancing.
Like,
This is what
are we at Hollywood dancers? But no, we're gonna go cheap.
No, we're going Greek wedding.
So good ones.
Yeah, let's get a full Greek wedding going.
Are you talking about the real dance battle or what the guests do for the dance battle?
The thing you pitched.
No, I have two. It's the guests do the AR dance, but then there's also the actual dance teams battling against a face character Darunia who's like actually a real dancer.
So you're trying to build Jedi training temple, but off of this dance battle.
Sure, sounds about right.
You know, the iconic moment in Ocarina of Time.
Of that dance battle. Like, I get it if we're...
Dance frenzy that gets him going. It's like hot, right?
Because this...
And here's the thing. If we ever do Footloose, he's not going to pitch this. And that's the crazy part, because that would make sense.
The reason why I picked this is, one, it's fun, but two, Darunia, it's like, he's very hardcore, except for when it comes to music. He loves to dance. So I was like, that's cool, that's fun, and you can have, like, this, like, big, you know, like, oh, I'm Darunia, I'm going to defeat you. What? And then it's like, but let's have a fun dance party, woohoo! So, like, that's the idea. Because
any questions?
Defeating him in a dance battle.
Ken, any other questions before you lock this away to brain grapes?
I'm making some notes on my side, so I think I'm good. Thank you, Spencer.
You're welcome. Thank you all for
these ideas.
The time. Let's keep in touch.
Yeah.
Nothing but love. I think the other guys are just like really hating on you, but I got you, Spencer. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's hard to hate when I'm this confused. So let's jump in.
No drop tower this week. No drop tower. For me.
Yes, you managed to go a week without a drop tower. I'm very proud of you, bud. Well, let's jump into my pitches, shall we?
Let's.
I love Zelda. I'm a huge fan of the way that it introduced our dungeon system and brought it to a whole new level. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's some of the most immersive storytelling that the Nintendo console ever saw. My personal Zelda is Wind Waker, but that is just because I'm a fan of proper cell shading and that sort of thing. But Ocarina really set us off on the right track, and you could see the bare bones being built into something. So without further ado, these are my pitches. Let's start off with the Epona ride. So in my mind, you are going to be in a horse-based ride. It'll be a bucking horse gimmick, a steeplechase sort of situation, where it's not going to be a real horse. It's going to be robotic, and you'll do it in.
We're not.
I know.
Horses?
No, I don't like real horses. Horses don't like me. We've come to grasp this, but I'm more than happy to replace them with robots. So we're right now at a very interesting age right now with robotic technologies, but specifically with ones that can carry a payload. So in my mind, we would build a slightly larger version of the Boston Dynamics Spot. So Boston Dynamics has... I did see it. It was so fun. And I know Brad's thinking to himself, oh God, he's doing another puppets thing. But it's not a puppet. It's a live animatronic, a self-balancing, self-regulating animatronic. Now, in the early days of Disneyland, they had canoe rides. There was the boat ride type of situation. What if, instead of that, you had this mechanical horse? One that's built to compensate, built to make it easy, and built to actually make it so you have that feeling. So it would be trackless. We would have infrared fencing that would prevent it from going too far off course, but you would have more control over this device than you standardly would. It'd be programmed how to leap. You would be buckled in via a seat harness that we develop. But it's the idea that you get a proper Epona ride out of this sort of situation. So you steal her, and then you keep going. That is my idea with the Epona ride.
Hold on. Are these freestanding horses? I'm confused.
That is correct. They are freestanding robotic horses.
He's taking the robot from Boston Dynamics and
building it bigger.
Strapping people to them.
And strapping people to it.
Yes, that is correct.
So we're definitely, this is not something happening really soon. This is
no, I'm not, to be clear, I'm not aiming for practical on this one. There's something.
One for guest favorite.
All I can think of is that parody video of Boston Dynamics that went around for a while that people thought was real.
Of shooting it and it comes back to life?
Yeah, the robot getting upset and just kicking him.
That would be not what I'd be aiming for. This is definitely on a future. Now, one could say, why don't you do an Epona Ferris wheel or a carousel, which would be a logical thing to do with the Epona? But I say no. I say let's push this. Let's get it going. Let's find a way to make it work where if someone falls off of it, it can compensate. It can feel that if the rider's about to fall off, it can compensate in a quarter. Like make it safer. The irony being, you're strapping someone to a rocket if you're taking them to space. Why not strap them to a robot horse for a hurdle ride?
Could you briefly, like 1 or 2 sentences, describe the plot or the journey of the experience itself? So I get the functionality and
absolutely, because I haven't even gotten to the gamification part of it, because it's going to be leading you through the jumping of the gorge, and then you're going to have a valley archery game. So part of this that will be on this will be Nerf style archery that you could be shooting from the Epona. I think it's an incredibly fun experiment to get to do. They will not be sharp. You'll actually be able to do it sort of like Nerf tag or archery tag. I don't know if you've seen it. It's that sort of thing, but it gives you that full free ride experience. But on top of that, because archery is hard to do standing up, much less while you're on an Epona, these are going to be specifically designed platforms that will help you get your balance. You'll actually have better balance on those things than you do on your standard self, thanks to the way that you're braced in. It will pause, it will turn you towards the target, allow you to shoot, and if you miss, you miss. But if you don't, there's a big to do, and it's a whole thing. Dumps you off, you get off of the Epona.
I'm laughing, but if Boston Dynamics started work on this today, I feel
today
we would have this in I want to say 30 years, but 10 years. 20.
More like 10 years, yeah. This is like a 7-year rollout.
But here's the thing. You've not only are you having to ride this mechanical horse.
That is correct.
All right. Which we've all seen the mechanical bulls and everything like that. Not easy, but we're assuming obviously this will be made a little bit easier because it's not trying to buck you off.
No.
Until it becomes.
In fact, it's actively trying to keep you on.
But you then want to take you then want to take, all right, I'm going to have to reach down or reach somewhere on this horse to grab my arrow, to then grab this bow that I am free holding.
That is correct.
Knock this arrow.
That is also correct.
Said arrow.
With your hands.
Being.
Yes, that is correct.
Rotating.
Yeah, I don't. Congratulations, you repeated my idea. I don't.
Where are you getting these arrows from?
Hands.
There will be a little satchel off to the side that you'll be able to pull because it's not a real horse. There's the ability to keep it tucked there. But here's the other side of this. Those are going to be made out of a pliable material that will come up so people aren't getting stabbed by it. Also, the horses aren't bucking by. They'll stop and give you a moment to shoot. Once they get to their targeted areas, they will help adjust.
Arrow, have you?
I have. I actually love archery.
Okay. You want to just give why wouldn't you simulate a bow and arrow? Why would you actually make them take a physical arrow and have
a wristband
and shoot it off?
Because I want it to be awesome.
So the cleanup crew is going to have to keep working that.
No, you can do a recycler. That's not hard to do. You just build the floor at an angle and then you pitch them back to them. That's not hard at all. That's a ball feed.
I
Pitch
think
them back to him.
better with it's like
How are you loading this into the
like
robot?
baseball bats.
How are you
The ri-
this into the robot?
So basically, what we,
Quickly be loaded.
yeah. So the ride technician, you have a feeder going from wherever the gallery range is behind that to back where the position of the starting thing is. You do a ball feeder like you do at a standard pitching machine, and that feeds the arrows back to the ride person who's putting them in the robot and making sure that the harness is on. You do a collapsible harness on top of the waist.
He's so confident about it.
That's
That's
really
what I
would
love.
be
Is, but this is not. He's masking. He masks it with confidence how flawed this thing is.
I'm
would work.
Yes. You know what, Spencer? This is where VR would work. But I don't want to do VR. I want to bring it to a physical experience that's unlike anything that's ever been seen before. You're taking something that is, that you're taking something that is a unique experience. You're taking a technology that is already out there and is being perfected as we speak. That could scale up and it's.
The thing is, I have no problem with your robot horse. Your robot horse,
A sentence you didn't think you'd get to say today.
surprisingly, it's down the road. It's not this year.
No.
My problem is with the issues and the hazards you're going to have because you're using a physical bow and arrow, even though the arrows aren't sharp.
Then boy, are you going to love my second idea. Do you have any other questions, Kent?
I'm set. Thank you.
Yeah, let's hear your death trap, Oliver.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up. So, growing up, I loved a certain show on Spike Network that was originally not based in the US and had contestants going up a mountain trying to get to a prize.
Takeshi's cancel.
And I think to myself, Oliver, what would I enjoy as an active experience? Something fun that's in the zeitgeist, like a Fall Guys. But instead, we're doing Ascending of Death Mountain. Now, the Ascending of Death Mountain will have you dodging boulders, fighting monsters, and encountering Gorons. It's going to be a whole entire setup where you're going up through this activity playground that gets you up to the top. We'll have big, nerfed, rolling boulders that will allow participants to go. It will not hurt them because we'll make sure that they're inflated. They will not cause injury, and we'll have the ability to, if a kid falls over, just like my chutes and ladders idea, gentlemen, you'll be able to actually close off the gate to catch the next ball. You give that kid a moment to get up. Or you can have ride technicians. But the idea is that they have this mountain. So you're getting to live out your Nickelodeon Guts fantasy. We'll have a Nerf version of the Hyrulean sword that you could attack a dummy with, and then you can keep climbing up. It's the ultimate kids' play place, disguised as a death trap. Now, Brad, I know what you're thinking. This is brilliant, and I have no problem sending my child to their doom up this mountain.
Are you having them sign waivers before they can?
Oh, as usual with my rides, and I just pitched a robot archery horse. Why do you think this is in the 2?
Because if as a kid, I broke my wrist on the cargo nets in at the King's Dominion, Kings Island, play place. I broke my wrist.
Yeah.
On that.
Should have climbed better.
And that was just a cargo net.
Yeah. We're not going to have cargo nets, giant rolling boulders, swords flying around, and Gorons. I don't understand where the mystery is here.
And their fully developed bodies are going to be able to handle this very well.
I'm a little disappointed that you said it's a play place disguised as a death trap, because I think it's a death trap disguised as a play place.
That's fair. That's a fair note.
I'm glad you proposed this, because I had a vision last night as I was dreaming up my own park. I was like, oh, there's got to be some kind of death mountain climb.
That's the whole thing with that game. Yeah.
So I like the vision you provided.
Thank you.
Sure.
Safety-wise, practicality. Yikes.
I think the problem is there's ways you could take this concept, this part from the game, and I don't know, make it safe or
This would be a great VR
reliable.
concept as well.
Instead, you've taken what is the scariest way I can make this that's probably going to cause harm.
Right.
You're making that the game over like screen in real life, essentially, because people are just going to get knocked and
I mean,
little fairy and oh man.
look, I'm not going to call anyone a little fairy. I'm going to let them try to get up onto that mountain. I'm going to let them go through. We'll have little hints as which way to go in case you get turned around. You'll hear someone go, listen. Like, we'll have that built in. We'll have that all set up. It's
In case you get turned around, it's a spiral. You go one direction.
I know, but if you get hit by a giant boulder, you tend to tend to get turned around a little. If I've done my tests right, this climb could be confusing at points. So being able to guide them.
Awful.
That's a
What
concussion.
is your age limit, or is there a height restraint? Like, what is your...
We would have a recommended ride occupancy. We'll end up somewhere around like 16, but the ability is that you would sign a waiver beforehand before participating in it. The same way you would do at a kid's carnival, they have like the Velcro wall. You can't really do it when you're a tiny kid.
No.
Yep.
No. Let's back.
Yeah.
You just said 16 years old, but you did not pitch it as 16 years old. You've changed it to that. You said
I mean, I've adapted.
play.
I've adapted on the fly here.
No,
Sorry,
that's
but-
Nope. That's fair. He caught me. So yeah, no, these are kids.
Well, then, but rewind. We can still buy into it. How young were you imagining initially when you were first?
Oh, 7-year-olds.
Yes.
I'm saying I'm looking at like just sheer unbridled adventure when you're a child. Like, but you're at that age where you're unbreakable. That thing where they're throwing themselves downstairs. They just want that feeling of just getting to play.
Or die, I guess.
Look, some kids are better than others.
Survival of the fittest.
It's survival of the fittest as a theme park.
Thank you, Oliver.
What's your
Yes.
idea?
My third idea is an attraction. It's an interactive attraction. I could have done a
The other two.
yeah. But this is more of a novel, fun musical attraction because part of the whole point of the Ocarina of Time is playing the Ocarina. Like that is the whole shtick of the game. So
Integration, yeah.
huge musical integration. Now with the Mario Park coming out and the interactivity with the bracelets and knocking the actual question cubes, I want to do this but with musicality. So there'll be parts of the park that are embedded with moments where you could basically do an Andy's coming and all the characters fall down, but you're going to be doing it with ocarinas that you can buy in the park that have Bluetooth receptors to activate things that are around. So if you say if you do the right song at the right spot, you'll end up being able to do that. Now, I can attest to buying an ocarina thinking it's going to be super easy because how hard could it be? And then it turns out to be a little bit more tricky than I expected. And because of that, I've thought this through. This is the first time in the history of this show that I've pitched a toy-based attraction. And the toy itself is going to be the mechanism that I want to emphasize. One of the things that I had seen back when I was looking at the idea of playing guitar is how to cheat that system with a little clip-on that goes on top of it that you can press down and it will press down the chords for you. So what if we were to design ocarinas that allowed you to do arrow-based buttons that are on top of it that are embedded into the actual piece, and instead of it being wind-powered, it would have a speaker. So you would have the ability to actually get the code right. We list the code for people to do on their thing, and you'll be able to actually have it go into it. Now, if you unplug that piece, then it could be a nice ocarina that you could actually play. So it's actually training you how to do the finger position while making it interactive for the park.
So these are working ocarinas.
They are working ocarinas, and yes, it would be a cacophony of noise, but it would be. But to be honest, if you have someone doing it right and enough people doing it, and it vibrates and rewards you that way, and you get awarded tokens the same way you do with the question mark cubes, I think it could work.
Could you imagine walking around this park and just having a bunch of kids blowing into these? It'd be worse than the vuvuzelas or whatever from the World Cup.
Yeah, but on the other hand,
Like, oh, good, everybody's got a recorder. Great, that's what I wanted.
yeah, Spencer, you in the front?
Yes, I will. Bear with me here. So I really like this concept because one, it can be adaptable and accessible with the fact to play it separately. Also, you have a great opportunity for branding of the Legend of Zelda brand here.
Thank you.
My biggest concern is, I mean, cheaper ocarinas you can get for like $20, but more expensive, like good quality ocarinas are going to run you $60 to $80. Now, are these going to be upcharged at $100+ per guest? Then how?
You're looking somewhere between the $100 to $200 range, which is the way I'm going to keep it from. Yes.
So
Adults. So adults are spending up to $200 on a Galaxy's Edge lightsaber. It's one of their highest priced
Saber.
I'm aware, but if you told a Zelda fan that you can play,
Arena.
yeah, I'll argue that.
So even that, I was going to say, I was thinking it's very similar, the concept of playing the notes to the Harry Potter wands, where you go and you step and you have to like do it in this way or this way.
Mm-hmm.
Those wands are about $35 to $50, and people will say that they're expensive, even though you can get a lot of good mileage out of them. But I don't think that they cost.
But do you know what it also does? Is it limits the amount of people running around having them.
So what you're saying is an ocarina is going to limit the amount of people even more because it's going to cost more.
Yeah,
for a guest.
So just because you're selling a premium experience doesn't mean that is now included with everyone else's price of admission. We have other rides. This is a premium experience that you can bring into the park. Same way you would have the lightsaber where you're taking photos with it, you're doing those sorts of things. People will want to spend the money to be able to do that.
So here's my thing. I don't care about the price. You charge whatever you want. That's on you. I don't care about that. I just don't. I don't foresee. Gosh, that would be the most annoying thing.
I have a question.
Yes.
That's bought it. Great. So you not only have spent your money on buying an ocarina, but now I've got to listen to you throughout my entire experience.
What is the current policy at Disneyland, Universal Studios, Six Flags for a musical instrument?
You can't.
You can't, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Probably
this
because
park
of
would
something
have,
like this.
A limit to ocarina. See, I can totally like the whole Wizarding World wands. I buy behind that. I think practically, as a musician, I know ocarinas function different than just pressing just buttons. It's like you have to press these two together to get this note, or you have to release it just halfway in some cases. So I could see two separate things, just separate from your pitch. Like we would have an electronic version that's probably like $40 because it's like quick, easy, and it functions around the.
And frankly, could be hooked up to Bluetooth headphones, which could be quiet.
That would be the idea. Would be the Bluetooth headphones.
And here's honestly, if you made it a digital thing that you, by playing it, activating it, and pressing certain buttons at certain locations where you're able to hit the signal, that is what activates it at there. But then if I were to walk around with it or anything like that, like I can't hear it. It's not making noise.
It'd be activated.
That would be the way to go.
Yeah.
But to celebrate the ingenuity of this, I like the idea that there's a lot of possibilities with the park integration and the fact that it's a toy-based attraction. I think that's kind of fun and novel.
Mm-hmm.
Very broken right now.
But it's a show about pitching theoretical ideas. So
yeah.
So those are mine. You got Robo Horse with the archery, you got a Death Mountain, and you got a Loud Toy. So those are mine. Now we can move on to what Brad calls pitches. Brad, go ahead. Take it away.
So I have 3 pitches. Apparently, I'm one of the only people that's actually played the game all the way through.
How dare you, sir? How dare you, sir?
I would even go as far as saying who has played the game in general.
Oh no!
We called you out, Oliver.
No, I have speed time. Like I have speed throughs of that game.
All right. So first off,
Spencer, have you played any of the Zeldas?
I think when I was a kid, I think I actually played Ocarina of Time, but I mean, I haven't played a video game in who knows.
So that should answer your question, Kent.
And yet I still pulled out those pitches.
oh my
so.
gosh, you're done. Ocarina of Time. One of my favorite games. I had the gold N64 cartridge.
We all have the gold N64 cartridge.
I did not.
I stand corrected.
I played it. I just didn't own it.
You were saying.
Beautiful game. So I'm going to start off with a key aspect of Ocarina of Time is there is young Link and old Link. There are two Links in Ocarina of Time. It's time. And you can go back and forth in time. So my first attraction is actually going to be the entrance to my Zelda area. And that is you're going to be approaching the entrance and you'll walk into the Temple of Time. Now, in the Temple of Time, there is going to be a sort of show that happens every so often in the middle. We'll have our monk sort of chanting, and then we'll have our Link. We'll have two different Links, a kid version and an adult version. Every so often, they'll come and deal with the Master Sword, either placing the Master Sword or
So we're giving a child actor a sword. Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
withdrawing the Master Sword.
Right.
Like King Arthur, Sword and Stone.
Like King Arthur or Sword in the Stone, and this is a type deal, and so we're going to have that happening, and that is how you're going to essentially see them transition to go into become an adult or to become a kid. So it'll have a little smoke effect and stuff like that. The reason for this, because the second part of this attraction is there's actually two exits out of this building. Now you'll be able to just sort of go through. This is the central area. This little performance is going to be sort of like as far as like obtrusive, it's going to be like the wizard chorus at Hogwarts or whatever, where it's just sort of off the side. It's a street performance. It's not like you can stand there and you can watch it or you can pass it by. The reason you can pass it by is because there's going to be two entrances to essentially two different Hyrules. We'll have the young Hyrule and the old Hyrule. So these are going to be identical marketplaces with slightly different stores and stuff like that based off of are you in the old adult world or are you in the kid world?
So you're just separating kids from their parents and telling them to go buy things.
No.
No, that's you just said that there's two different different worlds. You said them down two different paths.
For Kid Link and the Adult Link.
Yeah, I got that. I understood that.
Okay, just making sure.
I'm not separating anybody. You choose like where you go. So this is your central.
Tear them away from their parents and throw them.
My attraction, my theme park is going to be sort of like a U. This section is so the bottom of the U or of the V is going to be the Temple of Time, and then depending on which exit you go there's different attractions on both sides. So you'll have to come back to the Temple of Time to become an adult to go up to the adult side, or come back to the Temple of Time to become a kid to go to the kid side.
It's really clever.
And so we'll have marketplaces, and we'll use have Hyrule Castle off in the distance that you can sort of see. But the marketplaces will vary based off the age. So like the carnival game, they'll both have the sort of like carnival games and stuff. But one's gonna have the bomb chew sort of gallery, whereas the other will have the sort of bow and arrow gallery, and so we'll have sort of a variety as you're going through this. So that's
this is one attraction with multiple.
My first attraction is it's the Temple of Time that leads into the market.
You know what?
So it's a Temple of Time that leads into the market. So it's a that's it. That's the attraction. I'm just sort of describing so you sort of visually know what
The park layout. Yes.
the layout is.
Instead of the wizard course, this would be a really cool like a Poseidon's Fury style thing, where you have like
It's his pitch.
journey and then you go to the.
It's his pitch.
I'm trying to fix it.
It's not.
No, he buddy, he just won with that pitch. It's we have to just sit through the rest of them now.
I'm just trying to.
It doesn't need fixed. So let's go to
I'm just trying to throw out some other ideas in there.
So for my other two attractions,
doesn't mean I love it. I'm just like, yes, I can. I'm hearing from a true fan that knows the whole like lineage of things. I'm not perfect. But
For my two remaining attractions, I chose to put one in the kid world and one in Adult Link.
brilliant.
All right. So we'll start with the kids section first, the kid world, Kids Link version. So my attraction over here is going to be Long Long Ranch. Now the thing is, Long Long Ranch, when you're young Link, Kid Link, is it's very nice. It's a nice, lovely ranch. It's owned by the family. There's Epona as a pony. So you get to meet Epona. There's the milk. There's cows and there's stuff. So my attraction for this is it's going to be a petting zoo. You'll be able to have photo opportunities with Epona. You'll be able to purchase some fresh milk or sort of dairy-based products and farmer market sort of products there. We'll have like cuckoos or chickens, cuckoos, and we'll have some cows. And so this will be just a lovely little petting zoo with character-based actors. A way for you to get to meet Epona and get to see this sort of world pre dark times, because the Long Long Ranch in the future not so pretty.
Why? What happens? Spencer, do you know what happens?
Sounds like that place goes bye-bye.
It doesn't necessarily go by.
I wouldn't say it goes bye-bye.
Just
Yeah.
new ownership.
It's like the Deku tree, like pre-dying, but pre-getting destroyed by new ownership.
Oh, so close.
Rolling away.
So anyway, so that's I think that's the easiest way to sort of describe it. And I want to rebuild a sort of Long Long Ranch, a petting zoo, sort of thing. I want it to feel like you're there. You get to be young Link, seeing all this and exploring the brightness. Let's go over to my third attraction, and that's an Adult Link side. Probably the most talked about, most mentioned dungeon in all of Ocarina of Time
Oh, you jerk.
is the Water Temple.
Yeah, of course you did the water fucking temple.
Yes.
What's your language, Oliver?
So the Water Temple is easily one of the most
Necessary
memorable,
water
one of the most memorable things. So what I want to do is I'm going to create a ride vehicle that is I want to have it sort of I haven't decided on the number of people, but it's going to be a dark ride-ish sort of thing, like you might see with Transformers or Spider-Man or stuff like that. I'm not using the digital screens because I'm going to be doing something a little different. Instead, your ride, it's going to be a sort of Hyrule themed wagon type deal that's going to have a dome over it. This dome,
Like the snow globe ride?
is going AR
Wasn't a ride.
projections. AR is going to be using AR projections throughout your ride through the Water Temple. The reason I chose to do a dome is because this way I can treat it sort of like the Nemo ride or 20 Under the Sea sub base ride for when you when your vehicle gets heavy, it puts on the iron boots mode essentially and drops down into the water. So this way we're not actually submerging the vehicle
We're just drowning them.
in entire water. It's just we're gonna use AR and illusion and stuff to make it feel like, okay, we're moving slowly underneath and we're just following. It's gonna be on a track. It's a track-based ride. But one of the coolest things is in the game you get the long shot in this temple, and it's required for a lot of the puzzles. And so as you're going through this,
Damn it, I like this idea.
the ride's going to be designed is at the top of the dome sort of thing. There's going to be a hook shot or a long shot that appears to be built above as part of the attraction. So it looks like it's part of the ride vehicle. We're going to be using AR for it for us to see it shoot across into the wall of the other thing, and then your track will launch you up. So there'll be a slight pause as you get to a lip of the thing,
What happens if you don't do it?
So there's going to be a slight pause as you get to the lip of the thing. It's going to appear on the AR to shoot up. All right. And
Right.
you'll continue on the track. It'll launch you sort of up as if it retracts.
Right. But what happens if you don't do it and now you've built a ride blockage?
No. This is only visual. The hook shot part's only visual. The track, you can't see the track.
So you're just going to swing for no reason if you're not paying attention to the AR.
You're not swinging. You're not swinging at all. It's think of it as a launch coaster. You're at the bottom of a launch.
Right.
Right. Then in the visual on the dome, we see it shoot up. So it appears like if you were to look up, you hear the noise, you see it looks like it's shot this hook. No hook's actually been shot. It's all AR.
Okay.
Then the ride mechanic is going to pause long enough for this AR to show that thing. If there's a malfunction,
Then you'll lift them.
ride is still going to go.
Okay.
Just you won't see that visual.
Right.
And
So just uninformed movement.
so it'll be unfortunately it'll have to be a launch. But that's what happens if there's a ride problem. It doesn't stop my ride. They don't get stuck on the ride. If there's what happens on your robot horse? If there's a problem, what happens with his roll?
We can have it veer off to a safety area.
Yeah, it's not a safety issue.
No, you're just taking kids that are scared, freaking out about this launch that's about to happen, and then just shooting them whether or not they pay attention to it.
It's not a fast rocket launch or something like that. It's a
zip pull.
A lift.
Yeah.
it's a lit. It's the retraction
Like a
of
ski.
Okay.
yeah. So you'll have a pause and then it'll go whoop.
Okay.
You're not going
Defense.
up.
Hey, defense rests. Go on.
That
I
sounds
don't think
pretty
you
fun.
understand.
It's like Incredicoaster when you're going up that little hill, but then it's like
A lift.
Speed boost or something.
Yeah,
it's
but
just
you're
gonna be
imagining
a little. It's
Are you
gonna be a
imagining
little
a
speed, so-
vertical?
Yeah,
like
it'll
you would be going horizontal next?
it'll be slanted.
yeah. So it's like
It'd be diagonal. So this way I can sort of because I thought about I could have a mechanic where it switch over during the stop part is it switches over and it hooks you to an upper track as opposed and you leave the lower track, so then you're actually switching between a hanging vehicle and a track base you know what I mean an underneath underneath track I was going to have it like that, but it's the problem with that is what's Oliver was saying is if you do have a problem with it connecting or stuff like that, then that's where you are going to have a hold up. So
Right.
what can I do to simplify this, to have this still the same idea, the same concept, but less mechanical issues are likely, and is having it sort of a gradual slant like that. So it's going to require more painting and using the AR bubble, and hopefully the pitch is enough to sort of keep you from being able to see the lower track when you do that
Functionality.
slant.
It sounds like the Tower of Terror ride in Florida, where it has the one vertical thing, and then it can go standing on a separate platform, and then link into another.
That is the correct way to describe the Hollywood Tower of Terror.
Yeah, Spencer.
Spencer, that is how you
launch.
No,
An
I'm just.
Incredicoaster
They're
has
just giving you a hard
slanted
time.
launch.
They're
I
giving-
love coaster. I
Right.
love.
we love you, bud.
It's a different episode.
I don't know for sure. I can't tell.
So it's going to have you sort of going through and exploring and seeing the water temple through this ride. And so those are my three pitches: my Temple of Time, my Long Ranch, and my Water Temple.
And Water Temple. Writing that down. Awesome.
Well, there you have it, Kent. You got a lot to think about. You got a lot to mull over. Some things sound more exciting. Some things sound more deadly. This is your moment to shine. Kent, are you ready for the rundown of what we've all pitched?
I believe I'm ready for the rundown. I am maybe not ready to award yet, but I.
Well, then let's run down it one more time just to review. So, Spencer, what did you have?
I had the Tales from the Forest with the Great Deku Tree featuring the Kokiri. I had the Hyrule Adventure, Revenge of the Mummy Spider-Man Dark Ride / roller coaster, and I had the Darunia Dance Off and Freestyle Battle Zone with the Ocarina of Time Garage Band.
Excellent. I had the Epona ride with the Boston Dynamics style horses and the archery. That's awesome. I had the Mount Doom climb, basically, and then I had the interactive ocarinas.
On my end, I had the Temple of Time, the Long Long Ranch, and the Water Temple.
Excellent. So those are your items to choose from. We're going to start off with the category of creative. In third place, bronze. What do you want to give it to?
Bronze creativity, I'm going to say... Dang, this is overall. Wow. All right. Let me think first and then second, and then I can probably...
While you're thinking it through, as a quick side note, you're a musician, right?
I am.
Do you have a channel that you would like to plug throughout this?
You should check out my music at Snubby J, wherever you listen, YouTube, TikTok. I'm on Spotify and all that now. I even have an Ocarina of Time medley from almost exactly a decade ago.
What?
2011 in January. So you should check that out on my YouTube channel. But I also am starting some virtual workshops with bands and schools and all that. So if you're a band student or you're a teacher or director or know somebody, then you can now I actually even have a little bit of a scholarship program set up, so people can check out snubbyj.com for details on that.
Excellent. Now that I've taken your mind away from what you were thinking through very hard, what do you want to give as the bronze? Bronze for creative.
Instinct is going to say the Darunia Dance Off, because I think that
How?
world that you're establishing is a place that would be fun to hang out. I think the nuances of what the thing is, I think it's very creative.
I think it's creative too.
So I will give you the bronze.
Creative in the sense of making something that isn't really a thing. I get it. Let's move on to... No, it is a thing now because it's won the bronze in creative, which brings us to the silver. What gets the silver for creative?
I'm going to say creative silver will be the Death Mountain climb. And the reason for this is because... Spencer even muted himself for his laugh. I think it's so creative, impractical, unsafe, but yes. The world, like I with this creative category, I'm imagining the world we're establishing, and I think
yes,
Darunia Dance and this Death Mountain climb are absolutely capturing that, and it's exciting.
I want to interrupt real quick. I want to make sure we made clear that you don't have to give each of us an award, right? You can.
I'm clear about that, but
he's awarding it to the ones that deserve it here, Brad.
The world that you've established in these regards, I can see those, and I'm curious. I'm excited by those. Okay, yeah. But number one, and this happens to be spread out, Brad. I have to give you the Temple of Time, only because you actually thought through the entire game. That didn't even cross my mind as I was imagining this. I forgot that adult Link life is dark and scary, especially around Hyrule. So the fact that you would have that very polar opposite experience when you exit, I think it's kind of interesting to have a dark aspect to a theme park.
All right, there you have it. We're going to bring it to practical. This is practical. What do you got for bronze?
Oliver's ready to sweep this category.
Practical, I would say the Deku Tree Show gets the bronze, so Spencer can get that one. I think just the improv and the world of that, it seems like that could be achievable, especially with the talking turtle style, crush style interaction. For silver, I'm going to say the Ocarina attraction. I'm spreading this out again. All right. So then Ocarina attraction, if you go the route of just the electronic thing. Again, I had that vision, kind of like the wands interacting around the thing.
Yeah.
I think that'd be super cool. I think that'd be super dope. So,
which means that gold is going
to Lamon Ranch, because that animal petting zoo and all the features, again, super fun, super easy, and hopefully humane and good in that regard.
Now, I'm not the great Karnak, but I'm having a feeling I know how fan favorite's going to go. So for fan favorite, what do you got for bronze?
Fan favorite, impractical, but I really like the ingenuity of the Impona horse ride. I think that's actually pretty cool that you could do that whole experience with all those features in 20 or 30 years.
Right. It's an expansion down the line.
Some changes again to the overall thing, but I would give it that.
Oh, your gut wants to say something. Just say it and be proud.
Silver, I'm going to say the Hyrule coaster. I think there needs to be some kind of ultimate experience. I don't think you have all the details locked in there. I think you need to be able to hit all the different places. All the sages need to be there. Some experience with like the Triforce and then defeating Ganon at the end, Ganondorf, what have you. That would be my silver. I would say that.
Which brings us to gold.
I want to say the gold is the Lon Lon Ranch again because it's just integral to like the story, like a place to hang out. It's so sweet and it's got all the features that you could dive into. I think the Water Temple is not quite there, but Brad, you get my gold for just overall specific with the Lon Lon Ranch. Like
Brad sweeps the week. Would you look at that? That's a heck of a score booster for Brad. Kent, thank you so much for being here and joining us for Theoretical Thrills. If you've enjoyed the podcast that you've listened to, feel free to like, click, and subscribe or comment. We'll reply back. On behalf of all of us here at Theoretical Thrills, I've been Oliver.
I'm Brad.
And I'm Spencer.
Have a great week. Bye.
Did you enjoy the episode you just watched? Feel free to like, subscribe, and share. And if you have an interpretation of an idea based on the theme of the week, feel free to tag us on social media with hashtag Theoretical Thrills, and we may feature your ride and attraction on the show.
Theoretical Thrills, the theory of the thrill.